welcome back to World of Warships. Now, in line with some of my previous comments in the previous video regarding looking at more low tier stuff and less emphasis on higher tier stuff, because everybody and their dog does high tier videos, I've decided to look at the St. Louis, which is the American tier 3 cruiser. You can see it here, and actually I found really fun to play. I haven't had so much fun with the ship until I got up to the Cleveland. Now this ship is actually one of the prettier ones as well. It looks horrible here because it's in like a World War grey kind of colour, but if I go to the modules and switch back to the hull A, this is almost like its pre-war configuration. Let's just take those off. Oh, come on. How do you demount things? I've forgotten how you demount things. There we go. Let's mount those. There we go. Okay, right. Ignore the minor brain fart. Let's mount the rubbish hull. Right, yeah, look at this. This is really pretty. This is like a warship that was designed when there wasn't really a war going on, so it was meant to look pretty and show the flag in foreign ports and things like that. You can see this nice little bit of hull ornamentation. So let's go back to the actual fully upgraded setup, because I say I had this ship before, so I've already unlocked everything. I just rebought it because I've got quite a lot of credits. So the St. Louis. Now the St. Louis was one of the first big cruisers. It was a pre-dreadnought era ship, so it came sort of the very early 20th century, late 19th century. I don't know the exact date because I can't really be bothered to look it up. And this thing is made out of guns, and I mean that almost literally. There's a main caliber gun there, two more there, another one, another two there, another two there. In its fully upgraded configuration, as I have it here, it has 14 main battery guns. It has 18 secondary battery guns, and up to a range of 12.5 kilometers. So that is a hell of a lot of firepower. This thing can actually stand up to tier 3 battleships without losing too much face, especially the American tier 3 battleship, because the American tier 3 battleship I think is the South Carolina, and it's a piece of crap. But anyway, it's got almost as much health as a South Carolina as well. Actually, it's up to 29,500 hit points. So it's got lots and lots of guns. It's got quite a nice tight turning circle, 450 meters. Rudder shift time isn't amazing. The problem is the maximum speed. The maximum speed is very slow. This thing is a slow ship. It is basically, to be honest, it's a battleship with 6-inch guns. That's effectively what it is, with cruiser armor. So you have to angle it, like I've demonstrated in a lot of my other cruiser videos. Generally with this ship you want to be pointed either towards or away from the enemy. You don't want to be broadside on, because you're just asking to get citadeled. If we look at the armour layout, you can see the citadel here. I think that's the citadel, that's just the armour belt. So yeah, the citadel isn't that hard to hit at close range, so you want to kind of stay at long to medium range and just spam high explosive. Like most cruisers, high explosive should be your primary ammunition. The only time you want to use armour piercing is when you're shooting at other cruisers, and even then when they're not angled. We have 8-second reload time on these guns. Somewhere it tells you that. There we go, yeah, 8-second reload time, so they're pretty fast firing. You've got 14 of them, but only about 8 or so can fire in any one direction. However, because they're all side mounted, this means that you can rapidly switch direction, so you can shoot that way and then you can shoot that way without having to wait for your turrets to turn. So it gives you quite a lot of flexibility in that regard, which is quite good. And the other thing is this ship is massively satisfying to fire off because every gun is individual. And like with the Cleveland, let me just switch to the Cleveland, wherever it is. Sometime today, Cleveland, we have 12 guns, so it's got almost as many guns, but they're in 4 triple turrets, which means the Cleveland you only get to press the mouse button 4 times to fire. With the St. Louis, you can press it 8 times, which means you can really feel like you're hammering the shots away. And it is genuinely a fun ship. I enjoyed this ship and I did quite well in it. So all that said, let's go and hang on a second. No, let's not go and watch a game yet, because I've got some other things to talk about. Now, upgrades. It only gets 2. For these ones, you have these options. Main armaments modification, that just kind of makes your main armament tougher. Auxiliary armaments modification does the same thing to your secondaries and AA. and magazine, which makes your magazine less likely to detonate. I've gone for main armaments modification for this one because, say, you're reliant on your guns. You are a gunship, so you want to keep those going. And then the other one is some damage stuff. I've done the damage control system modification 1 to reduce the risk of fire and the risk of flooding. Propulsion modification makes your engine tougher, but that's not such a big thing on this ship because it doesn't really rely on mobility. If this was a destroyer, I would take the propulsion, I think. Steering gears, again, you're not going to be outmaneuvering anybody in this ship, so it's not really worth bothering with. So that's that. And then exterior, I've not really bothered with camouflage because I very rarely bother with camouflage just because I don't have huge quantities of it. Signals, I've taken 3 signals. I've got the India X-ray, which just means you're more likely to cause fires on somebody else's ship. It's this plus 0.5%, that second bonus that I'm interested in there. And then India Yankee, minus 20% time of fire extinguishing makes you less likely to take fire damage. And this is the same thing with magazine detonations, so you can do that as well. There's one somewhere to do with torpedoes somewhere, but anyway, so those are the ones I've taken. You're free to take whichever ones you like. Economic, again, I'm not going to give any specific recommendations for economic signals because that depends on what your priorities are. You know, if you want extra free XP, then take that one. If you don't, then don't. If you want extra commander XP, then take that one. Again, if you don't. You get the idea. And then flags, I'm not using any flags. So that is the current thing. My guy is currently our 1 skill captain because I wasn't prepared to spend gold, and I've taken the priority target skill for level 1 because I like knowing who's aiming at me. The other one that I would recommend taking, if you don't like that one, is preventative maintenance, which gives you a minus 30% chance to module incapacitation. So either of those I would take, but feel free to take whatever. However, I do actually, looking at it, I do have another captain here, so I could use him. In fact, that might not be a bad idea. What have I got with him? What's he got? He's got 3 skills. Oh, cool. Right, so no, let's not take. I don't want to. I want to take this one. So let's take this one again, and then second tier skills. So what do we do for second tier skills? Now, there are a few options with this. Let me just look up what I was going to do. Blah 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 blah. Just talk among yourselves for a bit. Yeah. So there's a few options. So this one is probably the best one. It allows you to keep maneuvering, so when your module engines and things are damaged, you can take that one, and that allows you to keep moving, which is quite good because that also means you don't have to take upgrades and things to help. So it helps compensate if you've not taken any engine repair upgrades previously. This one just makes you reload more quickly the more health you've lost. This is actually quite a good one as well. I think I would actually be inclined to take this one. And then the other one is this one, which minus 10% reduces damage control party consumable. So that means you can repair more damage. I think I'm going to take this one personally because I quite like that one. Minus 0.2% to reload time for each 1% of HP lost. If you lose half your health, you should gain 10% in reload time, or make your reload time 10% faster. Cool, right? So that's good. So what should we do now? Let's go and see some gameplay. So we're trying to get close. Yeah, we have a battleship in range. So we start shooting at him. Point out that I've not really used this ship for a while, so it takes me a little while in this game to get the hang of shooting things. This guy is a Kaiser, so that's a German battleship, tier 4, I believe. Looking at the turret pattern, it looks like a tier 4 turret pattern. Kaiser is tier 4, yep. And we've got the range now, so we're just spamming high explosive at him. He's not actually aiming at me, at the moment at least. Which is fine, so I just carry on, blasting away. Nobody's shooting at me at all, actually, which is quite helpful. Which means I'm free to just spam high explosive from every gun that I possibly can, which at this moment is 8 of them down this side. So notice it's got 14 guns, but only about 8 of them can point in any given direction. I'm trying to set him on fire, but it's not really working at the moment, which is a bit of a pain. But now he's head behind the line, so I get one last salvo off, just in case, and then we switch. Oh look, another battleship. Let's start shooting at him, because he's not shooting at me either. That's a dreadnought style ship. That is a Nassau, so that's a German battleship, but it's actually based on HMS Dreadnought. If you look at the turret pattern, see we've got a gun turret here, and then we've got 2 wing turrets, so it's got 6 turrets in total. And this was a similar design to what HMS Dreadnought had, which was the first of these all big gun battleships. And a lot of ships that came after that were based on this design. And this is the German version. The Americans had one as well, and the Japanese had one. And I'm on fire. I got shot at by somebody. I was ignoring these cruisers because I'm a dipstick. So now I'm pointing away to try and angle myself away from them. That one is using AP, armor piercing, which he supposedly should do, but I'm angled now, so it's probably not going to do much good. And these guys aren't amazing at gunnery, to be honest, but that's fine. So we start getting some shots off at these guys as well. And now I'm getting shot at by the battleship. I'm getting shot at by everybody now, so I'm just kind of retreating. Because I have a lot of health, but I don't have the armour to take on battleship guns. So we get off a salvo off at the, whatever it's called, the Nassau, just before he disappears behind the island. The thing with this ship is that it does have a very good turning circle. Get some shots off at the cruiser, misjudge the range, so I think those are all going to miss horribly. Yep, they are. But however, we've now got all the guns lined up again, so we get a new salvo off. Looks like you don't get to press the buttons all the time, which is a bit disappointing. I think these ones miss as well, because he's now turned away. Yep. My gunnery is awesome. It gets better later on, I promise. We've just sunk a Wyoming with the Nikolai the First, which is the battleship there, I do believe. Yep, he's just sunk, so now we are winning quite heavily. So let's pull forward, start advancing now, because there's actually nobody in range because we've sunk them all. Well, there are people in range, but they're not close. So we have an enemy battleship just there. Got some hits on him. I still haven't set anybody on fire. This disappoints me. No, the St. Louis is at its best when you can spam high explosive at people who aren't aiming at you. However, that doesn't happen that often. So you just take advantage of it when you can. But I'm getting some good hits on this guy. High explosives comes in. And we ninja'd the kill. So we just got a battleship kill on another Nassau. And now we're advancing because there's nobody else. I was a bit wrong before. I wasn't advancing them. I'm advancing now. So and there's a Caledon there as well. That's the British Tier 3 cruiser. Which is why I'm now turning. Because the battleship's almost dead, so there's not much point shooting at him. And it's actually, he has just died, in fact. So I'm going to try and take this Caledon out. We're switching to armor piercing. Torpedoes. Oh, they're fine. They're not mine. They're not aimed at me. Get some more AP off against the cruiser. This is where cruiser AP is useful, because he's turning himself into a perfect position to stick some AP into a citadel. And there we go. There's the citadel hit. Can we kill him as well? Yes, we can. So that's 2 kills. And however, well, look what I'm doing now. I'm turning because I know he's got torpedoes off. Caledon has torpedoes, and they're 6-kilometer range. There they are. It was a good effort on his part, and I didn't see him launch them. But you have to assume with these guys that they're going to launch torpedoes at you. St. Louis doesn't have torpedoes, but there's plenty of other cruisers that do. British cruisers have a 6-kilometer torpedo range. So now we're just charging the Danae. The Danae is tier 4. I'm only tier 3. I've got many more guns than him, but I can't point all of them. So in terms of our gunnery sort of weight of fire, we're not that different to each other actually. So he has torpedoes and I don't. Somebody else has launched torpedoes at him. Good, as long as they don't hit me, that's fine. And now we're just chasing him. He's launched torpedoes at me, but I'm still changing direction, and they're out of range, which is helpful. That's the other thing, actually, you can do with torpedoes. If the enemy's heading directly towards you, you can launch them from outside your maximum range. Because you can try and get your enemy to sail into them, which I guess is what he was trying to do there. and I'm constantly weaving because I'm bringing the guns on either side into play, and because I have casement guns on both sides, I don't have to worry about waiting for my turrets to rotate, so I can do it fairly quickly. But this is meant to kind of just present a more difficult target. It's not really working, if I'm honest. I'm also trying to stay angled, that's the other thing. Now he is probably going to be he's going to come about in a minute to try and come head to head and try and get torpedoes off. Whoever penetrated there, he missed. He's gone broadside on because he's trying to get all of his guns into play. Eesh, that was a good hit. Yeah, there we go, he's coming about. So he's trying to get his torpedoes off now. I've got battleships backing me up, which is nice. I'm launching AP. I probably ought to really have switched to HE for this bit, because he's too angled really for AP to actually hit a citadel. Now he's just turning now to get his torpedoes off. This is what he's planning to do, except opened himself up for a battleship broadside. But I don't know whether he got his torpedoes off, so I'm turning just in case he actually did get them off. I suspect he was nearly going to. However, that destroyer is dead, and there we go. And that's the first replay. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or whatever to let me know if you like that style of video. If you want to see any more, whatever, that would be good. There's more St. Louis videos to come. This is not the only one I've made, so I'll be showing you some more replays, some other tactics, ways to play it, etc., etc. And I hope you enjoy those as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.